live, you are live.
Welcome to the Sunset Safari, and look who it is. It is the Queen of Djuma, Karula, the dominant female leopard in the area. And it seems like our leopard luck has been broken, and we are able to find a leopard on this Sunset Safari. Now, we are back at that impala kill that we showed you on the Sunrise Safari. She's moved it slightly, fed a little bit. Now, the big question is, are the little ones here? And I cannot say yes or no yet. They could be off lying in the shade somewhere where we can't see them at the moment. So there is a big possibility that she went back to fetch the cubs. And the kill is in the heart of that thicket. So there we go, you can just see the male impala behind her there. Now we're on Djuma Private Game Reserve, right in the sort of western sectors and off a road called Impala Road. Now Dave and I are carefully checking and listening under every bush to see if we might see those little ones. My name is Brent Leo Smith. I have Dangerous Dave on camera. We have Jamie and VM out in the other vehicle, and Rebecca and Louise in final control. But what a way to start Sunday's Sunset Safari with the Queen of Djuma, Karula, who is being irritated by the flies at the moment. There we go. As I said, the biting flies are giving her a bit of a hard time. But other than that, she's quite a content leopard at the moment. Nice stash of meat just behind her. Got a nice shady spot to rest up in. Now, we are hoping that she hoists this kill. When I say hoist, I mean take up a tree. Because if she leaves it on the ground, with the amount of hyenas we have in this area, it's quite possible she might lose it. Now, you can see that little shiver through her fur, and that is a response to those biting flies. On the dashboard for a second, but it disappeared. So I'm watching that thicket behind very carefully, because a leopard cub is such a small little creature that it could be hiding in the shade there, in the dark shade around the base of that weeping wattle, but no such luck yet. So we're definitely going to have to sit here for the long haul. See if these cubs arrive. But while Dangerous Dave and I do the absolutely terrible job of having to sit with the leopard for a few hours, let's go say hello to Jamie.
What an awesome way to start off our Sunset Safari. But with the Queen of Djuma herself, this morning held so much promise, and I'm so glad that she's come back to join us. In the meantime, we've got some interesting things happening here with the harvester termites. It looks as though we've got quite a few soldiers out. Yet I can't entirely work out what they're doing. Some of them carrying and harvesting seeds. What surprises me about this scene is just how hot it is. What on earth is going on? Termites are nocturnal or cold weather. They're active. They're not out in the middle of the day in the bright sunlight. I wonder what it is that's got them furiously harvesting away at this blade of grass. Almost looks like, I don't know, at first I thought they might be fighting each other. It might be Thank you to the large pachyderms that are actually all around us. That's how we found them. We stopped to have a look at an entire herd of elephants. Sorry, distracted myself completely. My name is Jamie, and this afternoon I have VM on camera with me, and we're biding our time before we can head across to where we left, who I think is Nkanyeni. We had a female leopard this morning, but we were struggling to get signal, so we never really got the perfect look at her face. But as far as I know, it was her. So we'll be heading to her, and it feels as though this Sunday we have broken our leopard drought in spectacular fashion. There's one of our ellies. Most of them have moved off by now. I got so distracted by the termites. VM actually spotted them. He heard them rustling about. But there's a male, a little bit separate from the herd. He's still too young to have left, but he's old enough now to be right on the outskirts of the rest of the group. Munching away on a bush willow. So a very varied start to the afternoon for us, from one of the smallest creatures to the absolute biggest. I think this might be the same herd that Brent had this morning on the sunrise safari, and I saw some of the clips that our viewers kindly put up of that elephant sighting with Brent and the young bull that was throwing sticks at him. He pulled up a sort of a trunk full of plant material and then quite clearly chucked it at Brent. It was very entertaining to watch. I love it when they do that. Speaking of Brent, I'm going to let you go back. We're not going to keep you from Karula for much longer. Enjoy her.
So there we go. Queen Karula still has not moved an inch, apart from the occasional twitch to try combat those biting flies. Now, the most annoying fly if you're a leopard is a little species of fly called a stable fly that looks almost exactly the same as a house fly. The major difference with them is that they are quite vicious little blood suckers, so they do bite, and we often notice wounds on the predator's ears and even the prey species ears, and that is from that stable fly. Now there's some very upset little wax balls behind us. I wonder what they have seen that we can't. So in the little tree here there's some very small birds that are they're right in the center of this little thorn tree right next to us. To the left, literally, unfortunately, there we go. So I wonder if there's a little cub wandering around somewhere behind us that we can't see. Not that I can see at the moment. There we go, you can see that little blue bird making lots of noise and a little bit upset. We are checking carefully. I haven't seen any sign of the cubs, but birds are quite good at spotting them. They could just be alarming at Queen Karula herself, the audacity of the little birds, but we will be keeping an eye out. The cubs could definitely be here, and it's not uncommon that when you arrive, especially with Karula's cubs, they haven't spent as much time around vehicles as some of the other cubs in the area, so they're not quite as relaxed. So playing the patience game could be very important. So while we continue to wait here with Queen Karula, let's go back to Jamie, who's got an interesting elephant to show you.
Now I know that I said that I wasn't going to take you away from Queen Karula for too long, but I just had to try and get you a view of this very interesting female elephant. And she's now hidden her face as though realizing that we're looking at her. The thing that makes her so special is she's missing an ear. Completely. I mean, there's hardly anything there. And I'm just wondering if maybe if I don't go backwards, whether we can't actually get you a clearer view. We did have a view of her earlier, but she moved off. What What you gonna do, girl? Right, so clearly her one ear is absolutely fine and fully functioning, but her other ear is a total stump, and I don't think I've ever seen such a completely missing ear before. We've seen elephants without trunks, we've seen elephants without tusks and tails, but this is a first. There you go. It's so surreal. It almost makes her look like an Asian elephant or an Indian elephant when you look at her from that angle. I have no idea if that was a birth defect or if it was due to some kind of an injury, maybe something similar to what we chatted about with James and that tailless elephant. Unfortunately, she is moving off. But just one of those little oddities that the bush has to offer. If you have any thoughts and opinions as to how it is she might have lost that ear, or if you have any questions on the subject of elephants, leopards, or anything out here in the African bush, please send those through to #SafariLive on Twitter, or you can email through to questions@WildEarth.tv. We absolutely love to hear from you, and it's kind of like having you right on the back of the vehicle with us. I don't know what happened to that elephant's ear. A little bit bemused. But it was just something that I thought might be interesting to you. We're going to go across and check Sydney's dam, and while we do, back to the Queen of Djuma herself.
So there we go. She's still lying in the shade of that weeping wattle, not too far from the carcass. The little wax bills have moved off, so it's possible they were alarm calling at Queen Karula. Now, for those of you who might be a little bit new, a little bit of history to Queen Karula, she's the dominant female leopard in this area. Oh, there we go. And there's a very distinctive marking on her forehead, and it almost spells out wow. Wait till there we go. You can see that right between her eyes. Now let's watch her behavior very carefully here. So she's about 12 years old, and she has given the Safari Live crew much wonderful sightings over the years, and she's one of the most successful mothers around. Okay, I'm just going to reposition the car. Looks like she might feed again. Are we behind us there, Dad? Okay, so we're just going to get around to the other side, and she's going to feed off. It's a young male, not this year's baby, but last year's baby that she's caught. Now, it's quite a big piece of meat for her, and she might struggle to hoist it. So what she might do is remove the stomach and just trying to get a little window in there. How's that, Dave? Back. There we go. And then you can see, like with most cats, even lions to a degree will pluck the fur from the carcass like she's doing at the moment. Oh, you can hear elephants screaming in the background, quite far off. So as I was saying about Queen Karula, one of the more successful female leopards in terms of rearing cubs in this area. the moment she's got 2 cubs. It looks to be a male and a female. And she's trying to get rid of all the fur she's just plucked. So a lot of you wonder, do leopards get hairballs? And of course they do. It looks like she's almost about to cough up one right now. So I'm just listening to something. There's a strange noise. There's a cub here. I can hear it. Okay, so there is a cub here. I can just hear that little... And I can't see it yet, but it is somewhere in this little thicket. I can hear the little one. Okay, so the cubs are here. They're about 4 months old at the moment. They were born on the 1st of February 2016. So I think we're going to have to just sit here and wait patiently, and the cubs should hopefully pop out. So while we do that, let's go see Jamie, who's got another one of Africa's carnivores to show you.
You won't believe what's happening here. We've got 2 side-striped jackal chasing the black-backed jackal. The black-backed jackal's on the left, and there's the 2 side-striped. And you can really see the difference in size, except I said that they're chasing it, but they're not really. This is such a fascinating interaction between 2 species that fill the exact same ecological niche. Oh,
can we roll?
Yeah, we can. Here's the side-striped. This is incredible. What a start to the afternoon. Karula calling her cubs. Both species of jackal. We're going to try and get round on the fire break. I'm hoping that they're just going to move off not too far away. We had them this morning on the sunrise safari, both species, trying to snatch scraps of that buffalo carcass from the hyenas. I can still see them. And we spoke about the interaction between side-striped and black-backed and the fact that they hardly ever come into any major kind of conflict, which is why this interaction was so interesting. There was no violence exactly, there was no overt aggression. It was just almost like the side-striped were pushing with their slight size advantage, and then of course the advantage of numbers as well. You can almost guarantee that's a male and a female side-striped jackal. It's anybody's guess what the black-backed jackal is, whether it's a male or a female. Either way, this is really incredible interaction. We have been so spoiled today. This morning it was hyenas, jackals and vultures, and this afternoon it's 2 jackal species interacting for us. Try and speed up around this corner. We just got to really keep our fingers crossed that they haven't disappeared into thick vegetation. Oh, I think I can see one there. Yeah. And they're sniffing around. There's obviously still scraps of the kill from this morning. That was originally the Nkuhuma's kill, then became the hyena's kill, and it now looks as though it is the jackals. There's one side striped just behind those trees there, and then there's the black-backed as well. like the black-backed. From what I can see. Yep, that's the black-backed. I wonder if it... Oh, I was about to say, I wonder if it's digging to lie down. And there you go, that's exactly what it did. And then, there's the side striped. We're going to stick around and just watch this interaction a bit. While we do, back to Brent and Karula.
So she's pulled the carcass deeper into the thicket to get a bit of shade. And we still haven't managed to catch a sight of the cub yet. It's gone quiet again, but it is around. And at some point she might start calling to the cubs. So for her to have the best chance of actually successfully eating this whole kill, she's going to need to remove the stomach. Of course, that's a big, heavy part that she's not going to eat too much of. So the undigested grass in the stomach. And then she will try, hopefully hoist it into a tree nearby. Standing by. Copy, thanks. So just a little update from Jamie there. There's tracks of a male leopard coming in from Buffelshoek on top of our tracks from this morning. That could be Mr. Tingana. And we're heading in this general direction now. A male leopard will steal this kill from a female if he happens upon it. I think she's lucky. This isn't sort of on his normal route, but you never know with these leopards which way they might decide to go. So there's always a huge debate on the parental lineage of leopard and leopard cubs. So she mated with about 4 males that we know of, 3 males that we know of. She possibly could have mated with a few more. Now, she mates with lots of... There we go, look, she's got into the chest cavity now. And so she'll mate with multiple males to all those males think they're the father. And that's to give the best possible chance for her cubs to survive if they encounter any of these males. So Jane is wondering, as we watch Karula dismember this impala, how long will a leopard feed on a kill for? Well, Jane, it's entirely dependent. They have no qualms eating highly rotten meat. So if she can get a kill this size into a tree, she'll happily feed off it for 3 or 4 days if it's big enough, but normally 2 to 3 days. So, of course, one of the biggest threats to a female leopard having a carcass on the ground is hyenas. And Akaji is wondering how long till that carcass starts smelling and attracts the hyenas. Well, it depends. Probably in this winter weather where it's not too hot, it'll take a day or 2. But if that stomach is opened, hyenas will pick up on that scent quite quickly. So what happens is leopard normally cover the stomach in sand to help mask that scent, and we might be lucky enough to watch her perform some of that behavior a little later. Hi, Monique. Monique is in London, and she's wondering, will Karula skin the impala to make it easier for the cubs to feed, or do they just instinctively know how to do that? Well, Monique, they do instinctively know how to do that, but she has already opened up the carcass, which will make it a little bit easier for them to feed. And the fact that they haven't eaten much on this carcass means that her and the cubs are pretty well fed at the moment. So she's going to try probably eat the high mineral content organs next: liver, heart, lungs, kidneys as well. Liver is quite important for most of the big cats because of its very high iron content. You can see how she turns her head to the side, using her premolars and molars to cut through the skin. There we go, she's doing it now. And we'll also use those to go through certain bones. There we go, she's pulling it closer towards us. And you can see the stomach start coming out on the left. And now she's opening up the stomach, or the outside of the stomach. There we go, you can see the intestines. Now she'll try to get to, as I said, those high value pieces of meat inside that impala. Also, once she's got the stomach and the intestines out, it will make it a lot easier for her to hoist this kill if she wants to. So she probably made this kill about maybe early this morning or late last night. And if you're wanting to ask any questions, like Monique and others have been doing about what we're looking at this very moment on a live African safari, you can do that by sending an email through to questions@WildEarth.TV or use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. So, those cubs haven't made another peep yet. They are definitely around here somewhere. As I said, her cubs haven't spent that much time with vehicles. So, it's going to be a bit of a patience game at the moment. Just got to give them enough time to get used to our presence. So Lucy, hi Lucy, in South Bend, Indiana, is wondering whether there's a tree close by for Karula to hoist if she needs to. There are a couple, none of them are particularly ideal, but when you're being chased by hyenas, you don't go for ideal, you go for the closest. There's actually a nice marula tree up there. If she was going to hoist, it's going to be, we can't really see it, it's behind us. But there is a nice tree to hoist into, Lucy. So, this is the this exciting Queen Karula of Djuma Private Game Reserve. She's got an adult male impala, about a 2-year-old, and we think her cubs are close by somewhere. So I'm pretty sure, about 80% sure, I heard a cub calling a little earlier. So we're just going to sit tight here and hopefully they reveal themselves to us. At the moment she's just opened the abdomen of the impala, feeding off some of the internal organs. Looks like she's feeding off a piece of the small intestine at the moment. Yep, plucking fur again. I'm still constantly scanning into the bushes around, trying to see if we can spot one of the little ones. I can hear a little one again. I can't see it. I can hear. So I'm just trying to figure out exactly where that little sound's coming from. I almost think it's coming from inside the thicket where she is, somewhere in this area. I'm just trying to check carefully. Quite often these little guys, we found them up in the trees as well. But it does sound like it might be coming down from directly underneath that sort of fallen log. Just trying to see any movement, but nothing yet. And it looks like she's got to some of the good bits. What's that she eating there? Nice and pink, could be some lungs, I can't really see. Nigel, who's in the UK, is wondering, when she eats so viciously, does she break any teeth? Not so much break as wear down, Nigel. When they break teeth, it's normally in the actual killing or fighting. Those are the two more common times when they break their teeth. When feeding like this, less likely. In older animals it is possible, but again, still less likely. I'm just trying to... That. Get my binoculars quickly. Or my camera maybe might be a better option. I think I see something. Just trying to... A light's quite difficult. And you get into that. The depths of that bush. Oh, no, she's moved now. Can't really... Maybe not. Whatever I saw was moved. So we're starting to smell the carcass now. Not too bad, it's quite a fresh carcass. Sort of the smell of undigested grass from that impala's stomach. Back to plucking. As she's bumping the branch there, whole bush is moving. There we go. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Well, imagine having all that hair in your mouth. Not very pleasant. She might just change position. She might even move the carcass a little bit. Sorry guys, I'm being quiet. I'm just trying to listen. I'm trying to pinpoint where this noise is coming from. Where are the little monsters hiding? Sorry, I think I hear something bigger coming through. There might be some elephants moving in behind us. I can't see them yet. I just every now and then just hear a branch breaking. So leopards will often feed for a while and then they will stop and snooze and digest that meat that they've got. But we're going to keep our eye out around here and hopefully we are able to figure out where the sound is coming from and we will see those little guys. But while we do that, Jamie's got some pachyderms for you.
Well, we just had to show you this elephant before she disappears, because she is absolutely bulging. Look at that. Oh, that is one, I was going to say very pregnant, but being pregnant is one of those things you either are or you aren't. You can't be very pregnant, but you kind of know what I mean. Just look at that. She looks like she's absolutely ready to burst. In fact, I think she's actually incredibly uncomfortable because she was, compared to the rest of the herd that are perfectly relaxed, she was actually a little bit stressed out when we came through, and I think feeling a bit uncomfortable and very, very vulnerable in the condition that she's in. We'll try sneak forward. Obviously, I'm not going to try and follow her into the bushes. So she has largely moved off. No, I'm not going to try. I think it's going to be next to impossible. The rest of the herd is in there as well to give her some support. Not the terribly clearest view of an elephant we've ever had. I'm just going to take my earpiece out for 1 second. Oh, it's just babblers. Thought I heard monkey's alarm calling, but it's just the arrow-marked babbler. A very noisy type of bird. Okay. Unfortunately, our elephants have now moved back into the bushes and they're very, very difficult to see. We're not going to try and follow them just because that female is so incredibly pregnant, and I don't want to stress her out in any way, shape or form. They are moving straight down towards the Djuma pan. So at some point, I know that the camera has been offline for a while. I'm not sure if it's working yet. Our tech team have been working on it. But at some point there is a good chance that they're going to pop out at the Djuma Dam and go and have a drink. So you can keep an eye out for the pregnant elephant then. I'm not going to try and follow her and cause her any additional stress. And we're going to start making our way more resolutely now. We've been seriously sidetracked, but we're going to start making our way more resolutely towards Cheetah Plains and Nkanyeni. I didn't think it was terribly polite to turn up out of the blue right outside a guest room before they go out on game drive. Somehow I think that they might have taken serious offense to that. It's just not good manners. So we've been giving them time to rouse themselves, have their afternoon coffee with amarula or whatever else that they're going to grab, and then to head out on game drive before we arrive on their doorstep. And of course to give them a chance to see her as well. I bumped into the guests who are staying in the room. She's killed something in the riverbed right outside their bedroom. I mean, right outside. They'll be able to look down at her.
Looks like it's in a ball fight.
He does, doesn't he? Oh no. Sorry about that. Rusty not firing on all cylinders, quite literally. But he really does. That was the best description that VM just came up with. Our male impala here has most definitely sporting the scars. Hey boy, how's the rutting season going for you? Look at him, shame. Oh, puffy, swollen eye, injuries all over his face. And that's exactly what he looks like for him. He looks like he's been in a bar fight. And of course the male impala are looking a little bit the worse for the wear. Oh, his left side's okay. His opponent obviously managed to get in on the right and get to his face. It is mating season for the impala. It's slowly drawing to a close, actually, over the next few weeks, but they have been furiously fighting each other to get hold of a harem of females, a temporary harem. Impala don't have a permanent harem, but a temporary harem that they will then keep with them and defend from other males. And he's clearly, I'm saying he's come off second best. Well, first of all, we haven't seen the other guy, but also he might have been defending a harem for 7-8 days straight until he was absolutely exhausted and just didn't have the energy to do it anymore, and then got pushed out and taken over by the next male. And in that way it keeps the impala genetics fresh, so you don't find that just one of them is mating with all of the females. They exhaust themselves and then the next one comes along. I think we'll leave our poor battered impala. He'll be absolutely fine, just by the way. I don't even think his eye is damaged. It looks sore, it looks puffy and swollen, but I don't think it's going to be like Nelson. Nelson, the one-horned, one-eyed impala, definitely was far worse off. So I think our impala gentleman's going to be absolutely fine. Let's head back over to Brent, because I know that there will be other vehicles wanting to join that sighting, so let's enjoy our time with Karula while we can.
So no change here. Yeah, with the queen, and she's still eating this impala. Now there's still some little birds alarm calling a little way off, and I'm hoping that's where the cubs are. we're just going to sit here patiently to see what happens. So this impala kill was found by Taxon and Fanucci from Djuma's Vuyatela Lodge this morning. When they found it, there was no leopard here, but as you can see, now there is. So whether she went off to fetch the cubs, or maybe just went for a drink of water. Now, if the cubs were a real long way away, she might not even bring them through, and I'm just trying to wonder what I heard. I'm pretty sure it's a cub about 80%, but not 100%. We're just going to have to reposition slightly because Taxon's on his way, and since he found it, it's only fair that he can come enjoy this magnificent sighting as well. So, watch out, little terminalia tree. I'm just trying to think how the best way to position to fit two vehicles in here. Not the tree. Oh, it's stuck now. Oh, another thorn tree. Let's just do that. That should make life a little bit easier. Okay, there should be enough space for both of us now. So she's right in that abdominal cavity at the moment, getting to the nice, rich in mineral organs. Oh, film taxi, just come to my left. I've made some space for you here. So there we go. The Djuma guests are coming to enjoy Queen Karula with us. Just watching the next vehicle come in. Hi, Joyce. Joyce is in New Hampshire. Joyce is wondering, why would Karula bring her babies to a fresh kill that's not in a tree? Surely it'd be very dangerous. Well, Joyce, those babies are already eating meat, and they're able to climb trees. So she would definitely bring the cubs to a kill on the ground. So I'm just going to have a quick word with Taxi. I think the Mampimpan are here. I heard that down that side with those birds are alarm calling. You hear those tip, 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 tip. Ow, ow. So I think they're around. There we go. She's still feeding off the small intestine. There we go. You saw the droppings drop out there. So she will feed off the outer parts of the intestine, obviously not the undigested grass and dung inside the intestines. So it's been quite a while since we've had a nice long sighting of Karula. She's been doing some disappearing acts across our southern boundary, but wonderful to have her back deep inside Djuma. So the light is a bit difficult. She's right in the deep shade with the sun behind her. Alice in Oregon is wondering what is the survival rate of the cubs. So as with a lot of big cats, Alice, there's a mortality rate of 75%, so only 25% of the cubs ever survive. And out of the known cub mortalities, about 70% of those cub mortalities are caused by male leopards, either dominant male leopards that she hasn't mated with, or by nomadic dispersal male leopards. And the other 30% is made up of hyenas, possibly even another female leopard. Python I know of killing leopard cubs. Jackal I know of killing leopard cubs. Buffalo I know of killing leopard cubs. So it is a very tough world out here in the African bush. But this particular female is a very good mother, and she's raised most of her litters, or at least one of the 2 cubs she's had normally, to adulthood. So hi Kathy. Kathy's in Tennessee. Kathy would like to know, is hunting a learnt behavior, or is it something that comes naturally to the cubs? Well, Kathy, it comes naturally, and Kathy would also like to know what age do they first start hunting. I think the earliest recorded adult impala kill I know of by a leopard cub was 5 months. So even at this very young age, they'll be chasing birds, squirrels, lizards, monitor lizards, all around. So they're developing those skills, but the instinct to catch and chase is born. It's not taught. This is incredibly special. We're sitting here on a live African safari, mere feet away from a female leopard devouring a young male impala. And if you would like to know anything about what we're seeing on screen, please drop me an email on questions@WildEarthTV or use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. So Ellen in North Dakota says it looks like she's sniffing before tasting. Do all the big cats do that? Ellen, I don't really think she's sniffing. She's quite aware of what's in there. I think she might just be getting either hair or blood or whatnot on her nose, and she's just trying to get rid of it. She looks like she's drinking some of the blood. pulling it deeper into the shade. There we go. Now, there's a couple of reasons for that, because she could be getting a little bit warm and that sun's setting, so the sun is directly behind her. The other reason is she might be worried that it's being seen by potential scavengers such as vultures, and when vultures start dropping, the lions and hyenas watch carefully and could be following very shortly. Now, I haven't heard any cub-like noises for a while. So, while we wait to see what happens here with the Queen of Djuma, let's jump back on board with Jamie, and probably the creature that most leopard cubs rack up as their first kill.
Whoa, John sent us through an update about a leopard or a lion sneaking past on the Djuma Dam camera, and I've come through straight to the scene to investigate, and I've located two witnesses. I've been attempting to ask them, but at the moment they've both clammed up, and they won't tell me which way it went, and they won't tell me what it was. But a very big thank you, John, for sending through that update. I've just heard about it now, so I have come across to the Djuma Dam camera to investigate, and I've located two tree squirrels, one of whom is pretending that we haven't seen it, or hoping that we haven't seen it, and actually what I think it's doing is basking. In fact, I think both of them are basking in the late afternoon sunlight. Unlike squirrels in the northern hemisphere, our tree squirrels don't hibernate in any way. They don't have to stockpile food, but they do have to eat as much as possible during the summer months. Oh, are you going back to where we first saw you? The squirrel really enjoys this really fragile looking branch. Feels as though it might be the wrong place for it to settle. Looks as though it could break at any second. Not actually that I have ever seen a tree squirrel fall, misjudge, or in any way show a lack of coordination or climbing skills. Right to the tip. It feels like a very risky decision. And it really does look as though it's been spying on whatever's going on around it, keeping a close eye on the comings and goings of the various cat species. And of course, tree squirrels, one of the first animals to sound the alarm when something like a bird of prey or a snake or a slender mongoose or indeed a leopard or a lion comes past in a sort of cackling, almost witch's laugh type sound. It does really genuinely sound like they are laughing at you when they alarm call. I don't know if these squirrels spotted anything, John. I have checked for the tracks and I'm going to keep looking. While I look, Brent is still with Karula and she's up and about.
So there we go. She's finished feeding now. After she pulled that carcass a little bit deeper into the bush, she's come out and she's giving herself a good clean. Now, the one thing that might make me think that the cubs aren't here is the fact that she's not chuffing or calling to them. They might be here, they might just be being a little nervous. So you hear that click in the background, that's me taking a few photographs. So we encourage you to get some screenshots, share them on our Facebook page, Safari Live, or share them on Twitter with the hashtag Safari Live. leopards are quite fastidious groomers, so constantly licking, cleaning, but even though they do clean a lot, they still actually are quite dirty animals, even though they don't look like it. Inundated with lots of ticks, fleas, and other parasites. Isn't she beautiful? And you can see those long whiskers. They're called vibrissae, and they are such incredibly beautiful things. Much longer than a domestic cat's whiskers. Now, you'll notice that sort of round motion, very similar domestic cat. That very round lick, paw lick. Now, David in Houston would like to know, does a leopard carry its same name once it crosses over different reserve boundaries? Generally, yes. Most of the time the animal will be referred to by the same name as it moves through between the different lodges. So we are having such a spectacular sighting of her. There are other vehicles who are going to be coming in here shortly, so we're going to make space for them. And if there's a chance before sunset, we will come back. If not, we won't be coming here after dark, because that kill is on the ground, and the smart hyenas of the Sabi Sands have learnt to follow spotlights to leopard kills. But anyway, we're gonna be moving on from here now. So while we do that, let's go across to Jamie.
Do have a little bit of a mystery on our hands here as to whether, first of all, whether or not John saw a leopard or a lion walking past the elephants on the Djuma Dam camera this morning. Apparently it was very sneaky. But also whether or not it was Karula. The reason I say that is it's just interesting that she doesn't seem to have her cubs with her, yet she left the kill this morning, disappeared off, and then came back once again. Very curious as to why that was, what distracted her. Because, I mean, the immediate thought is that she would have gone to go and fetch her cubs and then come back. But she doesn't seem to have them with her. And it makes me think, or at least wonder, whether or not it ties into the animal that John saw. I've been checking Central Road, which is the usual pathway that the cats take when they're making their way towards the Djuma Pan, or at least the lions take. The leopards tend to be a bit often wandering off the beaten track. But the lions seem to enjoy wandering along this road. And just bear with me 1 second. Just to hear Cheetah Plains update about the leopard that we were looking at. And it sounds as though the guys finally managed to have a good look at her. And apparently, it wasn't in Kanyeni, apparently it was Tandi. Now it just goes to show, we never had a proper look at her. We sort of struggled through the drainage line. Apparently, for those of you who were watching the sunrise safari, it was Tundi, not Nkanyeni, that we saw this morning. Just an update on that side. Sorry about that. There was obviously a case of miscommunication, and we could never get a good enough view in order to see her properly. So it was Tundi, not Nkanyeni, that was outside the Cheetah Plains Lodge, and from what it sounds like, she may have disappeared. I just want to double check that with Mike. Mike for Jamie. Mike, sorry, what was the update on Tundi? It's the lion log. Copy that. Thanks very much, Mike. Okay, so she has disappeared. Andrew's been trying to find her and hasn't had any success. And because we're having fireside chat tonight and we have to get the vehicles back on time, I think that will change our plans for the afternoon. I don't think we're going to go racing across to Cheetah Plains today. Standing by, Brent. Brent just wants to chat to me quickly. Copy that, thank you. And an update from Brent. Apparently the animal that John saw was not a leopard, but a lioness. And it was that single lioness from this morning. She moved across to the west. Taxon and his guests actually saw her. So that's what Brent and myself were just discussing. That does explain exactly what's been going on. She's probably looking for the rest of her pride. What's there, Via? Mongoose. Oh, wonderful. Trying to find... I can't see them at all. Have they run away from me? Nope. Oh, looks like they've all gone to ground. I was busy looking in the other direction. So VM spotted some dwarf mongoose. But I'm sure that we'll find you some others. This lot appear to be quite shy. The interesting thing is that the different groups tend to be... The different groups of mongoose tend to be either comfortable with vehicles or particularly shy. It's usually those around the main roads, the regularly driven roads, that are quite content and quite comfortable with the presence of people and the presence of vehicles. I have seen banded mongoose before on this road, in this area. And banded mongoose is a species of mongoose that we hardly ever manage to get on camera. They're exceptionally shy when compared to their slightly smaller cousins, the dwarf mongoose. But they are around. I've seen them once or twice and I've got them on camera once. And only once. They just don't stick around, so that's something to keep an eye out for as well. But yes, that lioness has crossed west from the pan, so that's the opposite direction to where we are going, and is moving. So Brent's going to be checking around that area to see if we can't follow up. I think she might be trying to relocate on the rest of the pride. Oh, nice. Oh, yay. VM spotted my favorite or one of my top 5 favorite raptors. I'm just really hoping they're going to stay. There's 2 of them. Please stay, please stay, please stay. Okay, that's going to be, I think, the best view without scaring them. We've got the pair of African hawk eagles that nest here. And as I said, they are one of my top 5 favorite raptors. I couldn't tell you why. I don't know whether it's their appearance. They're slightly mottled. It's the white combined with that dark brown. But it's also, I think it's the fact that you always see them in pairs. And here we go. Injecting the byproduct of digestion. So this pair of African hawk eagles actually nests not far from where we are here. And they are highly specialized bird hunters with lots of white underneath their wings and underneath their bellies. So this is one of them. The second African hawk eagle is down and to the right of it. Unfortunately, there's nowhere I can put Liam that he can actually see it. It's kind of hidden. One will be hidden and the other will be hidden. There we go. We've got a view through the leaves. You just might have got a glimpse of that bright orange eye if you were looking quick enough. I said that they're specialized bird hunters, in particular francolins and guinea fowl, and they work together as a team, the mated pairs. Like all birds of prey, they mate for life, and they develop, unlike most birds of prey, they hunt together, one flying high and one flying low, and then sharing the kills between the 2 of them. And they've just been spotted by a squirrel. The one's taken off, which is why there was that instant response from the squirrels around us. Alarm calling, letting everything know that there is an aerial predator flying about. I wouldn't be surprised if the second one follows shortly. I double-checked on their breeding season because the last time I saw them in this area, one of them was carrying a stick. Looked as though it was going to start adding to their nest, which is just inside this block. And they've got another 2 or so months before they start to lay their eggs, roughly. And the female will be bulking up. And the male will be helping her prepare the nests. If you have a look at the true sign of an eagle, every now and again you'll be able to see that this African hawk eagle has feathers all the way down its legs. Very important identifying feature of the true eagles versus other birds of prey. And we do have several different species of birds of prey. James Richards, you were wondering about if there is a sort of a level success rate amongst all of the different raptors, or if some have more success in terms of hunting than others, and does that change in terms of migratory patterns, seasons, food availability, but mainly with some eagles migrating backwards and forwards? It's a very good question. You know, we compare our predators all the time. We talk about the success rates and the relative success rates of lions, leopards, cheetah, hyena, wild dog. We never really think about our aerial predators and their success rates. And I actually couldn't be able to tell you which birds of prey are more successful than others. Of course, the Wahlberg's eagles are missing throughout our winter period, as are the steppe buzzards, the steppe eagles, the Amur falcons. Lots of different birds start to migrate, or have migrated already, actually. There he goes. I'm going to think about James's bird question in the meantime. Brent has found one of our other feathered friends.
So, Jamie was just chatting about raptors, and here we have a raptor that's being escorted by a large flock of grey hornbills that are not happy with its presence. And I'm going to let you tell me which raptor this is. So, there we go, the hornbills are not happy. There's a huge flock of them around him, as well as the obligatory fork-tailed drongo. Now, there we go, you can hear the grey hornbills shouting. And there's a fork-tailed drongo. 2 fork-tailed drongos. So I think when this poor eagle flies, it's going to get bombarded. Now, if you know, and you're one of our avid birders here on Safari Live, which raptor this is, let me know. And you can do that by sending an email to questions@WildEarthTV or use the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Now, the diagnostic features, you want to look at its legs, and in this particular case, its eye color. And even from this distance, we can see that eye color sticking out quite profusely. I'm going to try sneak a little bit closer. Just wanted to make sure you got a safety of that beautiful raptor before we moved any closer. So it's amazing. We've got all these other birds that are really uncomfortable with the presence of this raptor. So they're keeping an eye on it, even though this bird doesn't really hunt other birds. Okay, is this going to be... Don't fly, please don't fly. How's that, Dave? Oh no, it's going to fly. It's one of those things. Okay, let's see if we can catch up. It hasn't landed too far away. Landed on top of a rain tree or an apple leaf. And we might be able to get a bit closer without having to sort of pop out from under a tree. Go. Oh no, off it goes again. Okay, let's stop harassing the poor creature. And lots of grey hornbills. They're following it. Poor guy. He's being seriously mobbed by all these hornbills. There they go, after him. And so apparently, and I would like our Djuma cam aficionados to let me know what happened. Apparently, a lioness arrived at the Djuma cam during the day. And I think we did have a power out, so there might have been no power at the dam cam. So we're going to go look. The lioness apparently went west from the pan itself. So I'm doing just a quick check around here before I'm going to head a little bit more west. I think she might be following the edge of a steep line hunting, and it's the Karula lioness who does have the cubs. Unfortunately, we got really excited this morning. We thought she was bringing the cubs to Djuma, but she did leave them still to the east of our boundary.